We're just days away from James Whitey Bulger's long-awaited trial, but we still don't know whether family members of Bulger's alleged victims will get to speak their piece. The defense says they should be kept on a short leash to avoid tainting the jury. Prosecutors counter that, saying grieving victims are a central part of Bulger's legacy. Now Judge Denise Casper has to make what could be a pivotal decision. Adam Riley has more.
They've been a regular presence at the Moakley Courthouse for nearly 2 years. Grief-stricken men and women who say their loved ones were among the 19 people allegedly killed by Whitey Bulger.
He's a scumbag, actually, is what he is. He's a mass murderer, and he's a destroyer of families.
But when Bulger's trial starts next week, they may not be able to speak about that grief. Bulger's attorneys say too much detail from the alleged victims' families could be unduly prejudicial, and that Judge Denise Casper should limit their testimony to the most basic background information. U.S. Attorney Carmen Ortiz disagrees, citing another court's finding that it seems rather unfair to kill a woman's husband and then complain because she cries. No ruling yet from Judge Casper. And Emily, when the Bulger trial begins next week, we'll have regular updates here on Greater Boston on WGBH 89.7 FM and online at WGBHnews.org.
All right, thanks, Adam. And with me now are Stephen Davis, whose sister Deborah was allegedly murdered by Whitey Bulger and her one-time boyfriend, Stephen Fleming, and Stephen Rakes, whose liquor store, Steppo's, was taken over by force by Whitey Bulger. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Stephen, did this come as a surprise to you? And it's like you probably assumed that at some point you or someone in your family would be called to testify and you would tell what happened.
No, I'm not surprised of it at all. You know, it's Connie's trying every angle he can, and it's aggravating to a point where, you know, he wants to control everything and the government on this matter, and, you know, they want to ask you questions and they want you to answer it the way they're asking it, you know. And
Jay Carney being, of course, the defense attorney for Whitey Bulger. So, in your opinion, what do they want to do? Sort of strip the emotion out of this? So they're just going to...
Well, they're trying every angle they can to, but how can we not speak our true feelings on how we feel and the anger and hate that we've had through this whole thing over 30 years? And in my opinion on it, I don't feel it would impact statement on this in the end or during it would matter in any way to his sentencing. So,
do you know, Stephen, already if the prosecution plans to call you as a witness? Have you heard from them? Have you said,
yes,
you know, be prepared?
I am prepared. I have been told I will be called as a witness.
And did they give you any parameters whatsoever?
To show up on June 10th.
Just to show up. So let me try this with you, too. So when you hear that the defense would like you and Mr. Davis and others to just provide the basic detail, what are they talking about?
Well, they would like it their way, and that's the way they've always had it. Well, it's not going to happen. Here's an opportunity for me to speak up. I haven't spoke up in 30 years, and now I want to let them hear what I have to say.
We have, of course, told your story here on WGBH many years ago, almost 10 already. But remind people about what happened to you.
Well, back in 1983, Bulger, Fleming, and Weeks took my liquor store from me. At the time, I was scared to death. I was afraid of myself being murdered in my family. And I've never had the opportunity to face the man again, and I will shortly.
So they just forced you to just turn it over to them?
Yeah.
What did they give you in return?
They gave me a bag of money. It actually meant nothing.
Why did they want it? What were they going to run it as something, as a front for something else?
I have no idea. I just didn't want nothing to do with them people.
What was your association with them at the time?
Not a thing. I had nothing to do with them.
Just that you had a business in South Boston?
That's right.
But you had no other association with them?
Not at all.
Are you afraid that the defense might make some association?
They can do whatever they want. I'm just there to tell the truth.
And what about you, Stephen? Had you, other than through Deborah, had you had any association whatsoever ever with Steve Fleming or Whitey Bulger?
No, not. I mean, we weren't enemies or anything like that, but no association like that. I mean, he was at my wedding.
That's pretty profound. He was at your wedding.
I know, Flemmy.
Yeah, Flemmy was at your wedding, not Whitey Bulger.
No, no.
And remind us again of what happened when Deborah disappeared.
Well, it was tough. My mother was like waiting to be told when to report her missing through Steve, you know, because he had told her then that he was going to find her. He's going to find her, and then it just got way out of hand with the FBI, you know, the local police. My mother was searching, you know, real hard, meeting with the FBI in neighborhoods and areas and places that were obscene. And
at what point did you become convinced, your family, that she likely had been murdered?
Well, it was a statement she had told a few of the brothers at one time that if she was ever missing, and he had something to do with it, and she turned up missing. I mean, years back, I kept it quiet. I mean, I was silent about it back then because I was on the street myself, and I kept it quiet. But the whole time, I had my suspicions on them, and I was searching throughout the years. And
so the theory is that she was murdered because she allegedly knew about the relationship between former FBI agent John Connolly and the fact that Flemmy and Bulger were informants and that she might tell somebody. That's the theory.
What they're saying. That theory, a testimony that Steve and Flemmy said, but we're really never going to know the truth. I mean, we know they murdered her. We know where she was found.
She was found in 2000, so it was many years later.
Yes, and we're never really going to know the truth because these guys lied. I mean, I don't think they ever told the truth, you know, and you're not dealing with guys that you have any faith or trust in, so you know, they shouldn't worry about making us quiet, the victims' families, or anything. They should worry about keeping their rats and their informants quiet because...
Well, Stephen, are you looking forward to having an opportunity to look Whitey Bulger in the eye?
I am. Very anxious to do that. Making me sick sometimes.
How do you think he'll respond to you?
I don't know. I don't know how.
Do you think Whitey Bulger himself will take the stand?
Oh, I think he will. And he'll tell on everyone.
What will he say?
He'll make up stories if need be. He can tell on everybody. What's better than the truth? A whopper of a lie.
Do you think he'll admit to any of the murders or associations with any of the murders?
I don't think he'll admit to any of them. I think he's a coward. If we knew then what we know now, that he was a federal informant, we would never have been afraid of him. But when they're killing so many people, you have to be afraid. And you ask the police to help you, and they don't. Who do they help? They protect the criminals more than they do the people that were injured over the last 30 years. It's sinful.
He's claiming he had immunity from the federal government, from the FBI. Think that's possible?
There's no chance that that ever happened. Not a chance.
Well, he certainly had their protection.
He certainly had something.
Immunity is another issue.
That's right. Pretty sad when they're protecting the criminals more than they are the citizens.
I'm going to demand in court when I speak that he looks me in the eyes.
I'm not sure you can do that, but I want to see you try.
I did with Catherine.
Did you, Catherine Craig? All right. Stephen Davis and Stephen Rakes, good luck to you, and I hope you do
Thank you.
Get a chance to testify. And as Adam Riley said, we'll be down there in the courthouse. Unfortunately, there are no cameras, but we'll be covering it as best we can.
Why isn't
That's
there?
a federal rule. We've already.
Yeah.
It's crazy, is what it is.